merger with Albertsons.
Plus, authorities are seeking answers after a night of violence in Raleigh.
And in sports, the TVC Ohio title is on the line in Vinton County as the Vikings take on the Nelsonville York Buckeyes. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Curtis Fader.
And I'm Andre Knowles. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. Two big grocery store chains are joining forces.
Kroger is merging with Albertsons in a $24.6 billion deal, creating one of the largest grocery store chains in the country. The companies collectively employ more than 710,000 associates and own nearly 5,000 stores in 48 states and D.C. In the press conference posted today, Kroger predicts the merger will provide food for more than 85 million households, with the combined sales around $210 million. The merger is not final, but if approved, is expected to close in early 2024.
A federal judge in West Virginia blocks a law banning possession of firearms with the serial number removed. Judge Joseph Goodwin ruled firearms with the serial number filed off should be considered legal under the Constitution. The judge cited a recent Supreme Court decision that holds the constitutional right to bear arms as fundamental. Judge Goodwin acknowledges that guns without serial numbers are more likely to be used in a violent crime. But as he wrote, this is, quote, the exact type of means and reasoning the Supreme Court has forbidden me from considering, unquote. Goodwin believes he is the first federal judge to address the serial numbers issue.
West Virginia is receiving around $1.7 million in federal funding for a behavioral health program. The money will be used to serve West Virginians living with a mental illness, a physical health condition, a chronic disease, or a substance use disorder. The initiative is called the West Virginia Promoting Integration of Primary and Behavioral Health Care Program. Participants across 16 counties will receive services and support from Seneca Health Services Incorporated, Southern Highlands Community, and Southern Highlands Community's Behavioral Center and United Summit Center. A new bill aims to increase the number of mental health providers in Ohio. According to the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill in Ohio, 1 in 5 people experience mental health issues each year. And in some cases, people experiencing a mental health crisis can't see a provider because they aren't doing enough of them. Republican Senator Teresa Gavarone says her bill would create more access to mental health professionals by allowing colleges to offer specialized master's degrees. Gavarone says the bill, quote, creates a new licensed professional in the state of Ohio who has the ability to prescribe and work under the supervision of a medical professional. The Bowling Green senator says she doesn't expect the bill to be taken up before the end of the year, but she wants lawmakers to start considering the proposal soon.
The Muskingum County Commission is discussing a new sewer project affecting homeowners in the Hopewell area. A developer is interested in building apartments located in the Mount Sterling area uphill from an existing sewer line. The issue is having the developer build their own infrastructure or force existing homeowners with working septic systems to tap into a government sewer line. Commissioners decided the developer would not force homeowners to tie in, but instead run their own force main. The cost of the sewer project is estimated at $1.3 million, this amounting to more than $21,666 per existing customer. Parkersburg City Council has dedicated $30,000 to the flood wall mural at Point Park. This is the first time the mural project has been given public funding, and it's expecting to have a large impact moving forward. The lead organizer, Edward Escadon, says the money will give artists and organizers the resources to advance the project at a larger scale. Phases 1 and 2 of the mural project have covered about 10,000 square feet of the wall, and Phase 3 will begin next summer. Now, leaves are changing here in Athens, a sign that winter is on its way. Lead forecaster Aaron Ashley is here to talk about what you can expect to see in your neighborhood. Now, when I walked out this morning, it was really warm.
I know. I walked outside and I was like, I need to take off my jacket
Same
and leave
here.
it at home.
Yeah, I had to take off this little number. So when will these temperatures start feeling more like fall?
So actually, we just had something move through last weekend that allowed these temperatures to kind of decrease overnight. But like we just got talking about, it's been really warm this morning and today, but we have another system moving in through this weekend that will allow us to kind of cool down. Looking at the temperature gradient map, you can see we got to a pretty nice warm temperature the other day, but overnight lows you can see got pretty brisk in the upper 30s to mid 30s, excuse me. We're looking at very jacket-like, very almost freezing temperatures overnight. But again, because of that sun that we've been seeing throughout the day, we've been able to warm up, and that's why we've had to put away the jacket. It's been very much that Ohio trend of not knowing how to dress for the entire day. And again, we've had very clear skies over the past 24 hours, but we do have some clouds moving in from the west here soon that will allow us to kind of cool down over the next couple of days and into the weekend. And that'll start sometime tomorrow, because today we're looking at very clear skies. 62 degrees is what we're sitting at right now, and we're looking at kind of a breeze from the west direction. But I'll talk about my full forecast when we can expect our next chance for rain. Curtis?
Excellent work as always, Aaron. Thank you. Now, cooler weather and shorter days mean that more deer are now venturing into Ohio's roadways. The number of deer vehicle collisions increased over October and peaks in November and December. Jonathan King, Vice President of Insurance Sales at AAA East Central, says collisions between vehicles and deer occur more now than any other time of the year. The average AAA insurance vehicle damage claim for a deer incident is about $5,000. Since 2017, there have been more than 100,000 deer-related crashes in Ohio. Most of the United States is experiencing a drought, and it's affecting Ohio. According to the latest update from the U.S. Drought Monitor, yesterday, 55% of the country is experiencing drought conditions. The drought has been spreading since the beginning of September and now covers more of the nation than it has since April. More than 133 million people live in drought areas, which is the highest number since 2016. That's primarily because highly populated regions like the Southeast and Midwest are now experiencing droughts. The Mississippi River is experiencing critically low water levels, and so are many of its tributaries like the Illinois, Ohio, and Missouri rivers. Raleigh authorities are looking for answers after a night of violence. And health officials are sounding the alarm as cancer rates go up. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Now streaming on the PBS app, Antiques Road Trip.
I like it.
20 seasons.
Ooh, pretty good, yeah.
Of antiques experts.
Oh, stop it.
Scouring Britain in classic cars.
Yeah, baby.
On the hunt for hidden treasures.
I think I found something.
It's brilliant.
The goal? To make the biggest profit at auction.
You're some man.
There'll be worthy winners and valiant losers. Antiques Road Trip. Stream all episodes now with Passport on the PBS app.
In East Africa, there is a spectacle of nature that can be seen from space. It's an event that supports an entire ecosystem, but the world is changing.
I've seen a number of these wildebeest decreasing.
The migration is gone because of the fences.
A delicate balance has been upset.
Who's responsible for them? Who is the voice for these animals?
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
On Secrets of the Dead, the first major archaeological dig at Pompeii in decades. Stunning discoveries.
The new chariot, it's the Lamborghini of this ancient world.
And a deeper understanding of the doomed city's population.
Our main interest is the life world of these people.
Last Days of Pompeii on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
Five people are dead following a mass shooting in Raleigh, North Carolina. One of the victims, an off-duty police officer, was on his way to work.
Officials say the suspect is a 15-year-old male. Ivan Rodriguez reports on the latest with the investigation and what we're learning about the victims.
Thursday evening, an active shooting situation on the streets of the Hedingham neighborhood in eastern Raleigh, prompting warnings for residents to stay inside.
You pray that something like this will never happen here. It did.
The Raleigh Police Department says the crime scene extended over 2 miles throughout neighborhood streets and a nearby greenway, ending in a standoff where the suspected 15-year-old shooter was critically injured. During the ongoing investigation, a source with knowledge of the investigation telling CNN a handgun and long gun were recovered. Chief of Police Estella Patterson says they still have more questions than answers.
My heart is heavy because we don't have answers as to why this tragedy occurred.
The department identified the 5 victims Friday, their ages ranging from 16 to 52. One of the victims identified as 49-year-old Sue Karnitz, her husband saying in a statement she was a very loving wife and loving mother to 3 boys aged 10, 13, 14. We will miss her greatly. The chief says Officer Gabriel Torres was on his way to work when he was killed. 2 others were also injured, including a Raleigh K-9 officer. The violence in Raleigh forcing yet another community to feel the pain following a mass shooting.
I have to consider that there's really no perfect place, and this is close as I have seen, but I'm not sure if I want to stay.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper said he saw the faces of the Raleigh police officers last night, and their pain along with the city's was evident.
The Ohio Department of Health announces a large spike in COVID cases. Yesterday, the department announced there was 8,500 new confirmed and probable COVID cases across the state. Here in Athens County, there are 163 known active cases. A total of 44% of the county has started the vaccination process, and just under 50% are fully vaccinated, according to ODH. Anyone experiencing COVID-19 symptoms is asked to call their primary care physician and get tested. Officials in Ohio and across the country aren't just worried about COVID. With the beginning of flu season, new concerns are arising. Officials say they already see signs that the virus is spreading in gathering speed across the U.S., even earlier than usual. The California high school said, one California high school said they saw about 1,000 absences this week out of 2,600 students. Health officials say that as a result of social distancing and masking during COVID-19, flu nearly disappeared in the U.S. This means most people haven't been exposed to the virus in nearly 2 years, leading to lower immunity. Officials are encouraging people to get their flu shots as soon as possible. Flu activity in the U.S. usually starts to increase this month and peaks between December and February.
Meanwhile, doctors are raising alarms for individuals under the age of 50. New studies are showing a concerning rise in early onset cancer cases among young people. Isabel Rosales has more details.
You're too young to have cancer. You know, that phrase is used a lot.
But according to a new study, more and more young people around the globe under the age of 50 are being diagnosed each year with early onset cancer.
This is exactly what I'm seeing in clinic, unfortunately. I mean, the number of people that are presenting with advanced and unfortunately often incurable cancers in their 20s and 30s definitely seems to be skyrocketing.
Dr. Sunil Kamath is a gastrointestinal medical oncologist at the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio. He says the variety of different cancers on the rise in young people really surprised him. According to a review of cancer registries across 44 countries, early onset cases are rising for 14 types of cancers, many of which affect the digestive system.
The typical risk factors we think of that would cause these different tumor types are definitely different and specific to each one.
The review mentions that sensitive testing happening more in young people could account for part of the upswing, but many, including Dr. Kamath, say it mostly comes down to lifestyle. Obesity, diets rich in processed foods, smoking, and alcohol consumption, just to name a few. Dr. Kamath says one of the most important things young people can do is advocate for themselves when something doesn't feel right.
Pay attention to, what's going on with your body. And some people are going to get some resistance from their medical team, and it does mean they need to push a little harder to get to the bottom of what's going on.
Doctors say to prevent risks, create a healthy diet and lifestyle and get screened early, even earlier than current recommendations. When we return, hear about a new study on protecting young athletes from head injuries.
And all this nice weather might not be such a good thing. I'll talk about what is favorable for fire weather here in Southeast Ohio in my full forecast. But for now, take a look at our social medias. YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.
In East Africa, there is a spectacle of nature that can be seen from space. It's an event that supports an entire ecosystem, but the world is changing.
I've seen a number of these wildebeest decreasing.
The migration is gone because of the fences.
A delicate balance has been upset.
Who's responsible for them? Who is the voice for these animals?
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Resistance was a necessity.
On making Black America.
Slaves were freed, but African Americans had not become truly equal citizens.
Organizing for change. And Black life, Black joy.
Creating these spaces or enclaves that allow us to feel good about ourselves and good in the world, even if the world isn't good.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
On American Experience.
Jeans are the quintessential American garment.
They are universal and individual at the same time. But it's always the same story. It's about the cowboys in the West. It's about Levi Strauss and the gold rush.
And yet so much of the story we tell about jeans is a myth.
Riveted, the history of jeans on American Experience.
Saturday at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back to Newswatch. And as I was saying right before the break, we are under what looks to be very favorable conditions for fire weather here in Southeast Ohio. We actually already have red flag warnings over the western parts of Ohio, and the National Weather Service has issued hazardous outlooks for the majority of our own viewing region. So making sure that we're heading out tonight, make sure that we're putting out any fires, because a high pressure system that has just been lingering over our region the past couple of days right here in that blue H. It's been clearing up skies, letting that sun peek through, but overall, that really low humidity and those really high winds that I was talking about a little bit earlier are very favorable conditions to cause any fire that is out to be able to spread. So like I was just saying, make sure that we're taking these precautions and putting out any fires. But right now and today in Athens, we saw very nice skies and a nice temperature in the low 60s. Tonight, that low is expected to reach in the upper 30s. Make sure we grab a jacket, but overall, very, very clear skies. Nothing to really look out for tonight. And even looking at the regional radar, not much happening out here towards the west. However, we do have a cold front that is just existing out here in the west. It's going to be pushing through our region, stirring up a little bit of chaos this weekend. But tonight, again, that low is in the upper 30s, 38 degrees, mostly clear. Going to be a very nice night. Nothing much happening in our area. But tomorrow, there's that cold front that I was just talking about. It's going to bring a chance for rain tomorrow on Saturday, and it's going to cause our temperatures to drop just a little bit. But again, that is tomorrow, and mostly sunny skies. If we're not seeing that chance for rain, we're seeing very nice conditions in the lower 60s, and that low temperature will sit in the mid 40s, warming up just a little bit heading into Sunday. But tomorrow night, high pressure will start to exist back in the area, and we will begin to start seeing very nice conditions as soon as Sunday. Not much happening as far as surface features arise. But looking at our weekend forecast, again, Friday, mostly sunny, very nice day for today, but that is not likely to stick around with that cold front pushing through. Showers are possible tomorrow, 20% chance. We're looking at a pretty weak cold front, but we can't rule out the drizzle or two, and temperatures remain in the upper 60s. And because of that cold front, temperatures will drop by Sunday, looking at the mid 60s as we head into next week. In fact, a cold front will be pushing through early next week, allowing another chance for rain to appear, 30% showers possible, and that low is actually hitting the mid 50s. By this time, by the early next week, actually, expect those high temperatures to be in the high 40s. Make sure we're starting to bust out those coats. I will go ahead and throw it on over to Andre.
Thanks, Aaron. The NFL updates its concussion protocol after several recent head injuries. Now the safety spotlight is shining on high school football teams and how student athletes can be better protected on the field. Mandy Gaither has more on how a new study may help.
It's the most popular sport with high school boys. Nearly 1.5 million play football, but concerns continue to grow over head injuries.
A lot of head impacts are occurring during practice, not just the games.
That's why a new study published in the medical journal Pediatrics suggests changing the way high schoolers practice may help. The researchers from Indiana University studied 3 Midwest teams in the 2021 season using mouth sensors to gauge the impact different plays and drills have on an athlete's head.
Numbers kind of astounded me. So 74 players a season, they looked at 7,300 head impacts. So it's close to 100 impacts per player on average.
In just under 86-hour study, there were 310 head impacts with air drills or drills without contact, compared to more than 3,300 head impacts in 115 hours of thud drills, where players train at high speeds and restrict contact to above the waist.
That's a lot of head impacts on these high school football players. And it's not just concussions, it is these subconcussive or just head impacts of any sort. They accumulate over time.
Because of that cumulative effect, researchers say minimizing head impacts during drills and practice may help reduce head injuries overall.
We know more than ever that some of these chronic changes, some of these most concerning changes in the brain can start early.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Researchers say that most of the head hits were to linemen. After that, tight ends were most likely to have head injuries, followed by running backs and quarterbacks, according to the study.
After the break, get the lowdown on the Gridiron Glory Game of the Week, as well as 9 other games in our coverage.
In East Africa, there is a spectacle of nature that can be seen from space. It's an event that supports an entire ecosystem, but the world is changing.
I've seen a number of these wildebeest decreasing.
The migration is gone because of the fences.
A delicate balance has been upset.
Who is responsible for them? Who is the voice for these animals?
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
On American Experience.
Jeans are the quintessential American garment.
They are universal and individual at the same time. But it's always the same story. It's about the cowboys in the West. It's about Levi Strauss and the gold rush.
And yet so much of the story we tell about jeans is a myth.
Riveted, the history of jeans on American Experience.
Saturday at 9 on WOUB.
Resistance was a necessity.
On Making Black America.
Slaves were freed, but African Americans had not become truly equal citizens.
Organizing for change. And Black Life, Black Joy.
Creating these spaces or enclaves that allow us to feel good about ourselves and good in the world, even if the world isn't good.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
It's week 9 and the action is as good as ever in the 740. This Friday, the Sheridan Generals travel to Tri-Valley to take on the Scotties with the NBL title on the line. The Jackson Ironmen aim to defend their home turf against Washington Courthouse in one of the biggest FAC games of the year, and the Nelsonville York Buckeyes head to Vinton County to battle it out for the TVC Ohio crown. So join us on Friday night at 11:30 p.m. at WOUB. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory. Time for week 9 of 740 football, and kickoff is about 10 minutes away. I'm here at our Gridiron Glory Game of the Week, where the Nelsonville York Buckeyes have traveled to take on the Vinton County Vikings, and the winner of this one will most likely take home the TVC Ohio crown. The Buckeyes are in the hunt for their 3rd TVC Ohio title in the last 4 years. NY is led by senior Leighton Logie, who has been a stud on defense for the Buckeyes. That Buckeye defense has given up just 33 points in their 5 conference games so far, and the offense has supported that defense well, putting up 237 points in those 5 games in conference. The one smudge on their record came in week 2 against Division VII powerhouse Newark Catholic, but since then it's been pedal to the metal for the Buckeyes. The Vikings of Vinton County are searching for their first TVC Ohio title since 1999. It's been 23 years since the Vikings brought a title back to the TVC, and they haven't clinched a playoff berth and won the title in the same year in school history. The Vikings offense is now led by Parker Schonborn after senior quarterback Zeke Mullahan went down with a torn ACL and MCL against Warren. Both teams are going to leave it all on the field during this heated rivalry match, and it should be a great one. For more on that game, this matchup, and as well as the rest of the games we're covering, tune into Gridiron Glory on WOUB. The Waterford Wildcats travel to Gloucester to take on the Tomcats. Trimble needs a win for a shot at the TVC Hawking title in a three-way tie with Eastern and the Wildcats. A victory for Waterford means they are a win away from the title outright by beating Belpre next week. The Tri-Valley Scotties and Sheridan Generals are both looking for a win tonight to claim the NBL Big Division title. The Generals made a trip to Dresden to challenge a Scotty defense that has been superb all season. This is going to be an old-school game of smash-mouth football. The Washington Courthouse Blue Lions travel to Jackson to attempt to dethrone the Ironmen. There are some big names in this game: Jacob Winters, Tanner Lamaster, and Troy Thompson. This should be one of the highest-scoring games of the season if both offenses are firing on all cylinders. The Gallia Academy Blue Devils travel for their tallest task of the year, taking on the Ironton Tigers. Ironton has looked unstoppable this season, but the Blue Devils have shown they can play at a high level. We'll find out if they have what it takes tonight. The Newark Catholic Green Wave set off to Heath tonight to take on the Bulldogs. Last year, Heath spoiled Newark Catholic's undefeated season in Week 9, and now the Green Wave is out for revenge. The winner of this game will take home the LCL Cardinal crown, or at least a share. The Minford Falcons are defending their home turf against the Waverly Tigers. The Tigers have been inconsistent all year, but look to round out the season with 2 wins against Minford and Oak Hill. The Falcons are also going for their best finish since 2019 of 7-3. There's going to be a ton to talk about, so don't change the channel. Gridiron Glory airs tonight at 11:30 p.m. on WOUB and tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. on WOUB. For now, I'll toss it back to you guys in studio.
Thanks, Jacob. We will be sure to tune in tonight.
I mean, I definitely will, but for those going out tonight, here's Aaron Ashley with a final look at your weather.
Thank you so much, Curtis. And yes, just a quick reminder about that fire risk for tonight. Make sure that if we're going out tonight, we're keeping it safe, making sure that we are not lighting any fires to help our area remain safe and away from all those risks, because we're seeing mostly clear skies, but that temperature remains pretty brisk. Grab that jacket, but by tomorrow it'll warm up to a nice 63 degrees, mostly sunny skies, but we are tracking a chance for rain tomorrow, and the chance for rain will appear in the afternoon because of that cold front, allowing our temperatures to kind of cool off into Sunday. And by the time Monday arrives, expect temperatures to even drop further to about 54 degrees, and by early next week, expect those clouds to really stick around. You're going to want to have that jacket ready as soon as next week, but by this time next week, you can really start to see that sun start to peek through.
The National Park Service is taking action to protect California's giant sequoias. According to the Park Service, up to 19% of the world's population was destroyed in the past 2 years. Starting Friday, park rangers will thin vegetation and use small prescribed fires to protect 11 sequoia groves at high risk. While the giant trees actually thrive in small forest fires, recent fires have burned so intensely that it killed many of the majestic trees. Crews will focus their efforts on California's Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks. Now, I think the reason why these fires keep going up is because Forrest the bear is not there. We need him back.
Yeah, I mean, advocacy, that's true, but it's very interesting. I didn't know that fire could help trees. I never thought about that.
That is definitely interesting for sure, but that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you for watching, and from all of us here at Newswatch, I'm Curtis Fader. And stay tuned to PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can have the latest information anytime at woub.org. Have a great night.
Thanks for
Support comes from Dean Heating and Cooling. Stay warm this winter with energy-efficient TempStar heating. Dean Heating and Cooling provides HVAC services and installation in the Athens area, featuring TempStar quality you can feel. Support comes from Hawk